Hi students, once again I am meeting you to discuss the lesson Biodiversity and its conservation. Today we have to see about the biogeographic zones of India. According to the International Biomes Classification, based on the climate, fauna, flora and soil conditions, India can be divided into 10 biogeographical zones. 10 biogeographical zones. Now we have to see one by one the name of the biogeographical zone, then biotic provinces, the area between, that is actually the provinces having the boundaries, then area, what percentage of area that constitute, and about the biota, both fauna and flora, animals as well as the plants. Number one, Trans-Himalayas. It mainly comprises of mountain, that is the mountain areas of Ladakh, that is Jammu and Kashmir, North Sikkim and Lahore and Spiti of Himachal Pradesh. Laha and Spiti of Himachal Pradesh. It constitutes a total area of 5.7%. What are the plants and animals living here? Alpine steppe vegetation. Then it is a place with the richest wild sheep and goat. The richest wild sheep and goat community in the world because of their fine wool. So this is the area where we have the richest wild sheep and goat community in the world, renowned for its quality of wool. Quality wool. Now also we have chiru, a kind of actually a deer-like animal with black horns. Gazelle, we can say gazelle, but it's looking like a deer with black horns. That is called chiru. The animal, just chiru, deer-like animal with black horns. Then black rocked crane, that is a bird. That's about what we have Trans-Himalayas. The second biogeographic zone, Himalayas. You know Himalayas is the entire mountain range. So the entire mountain chain running from western to northeastern India, the whole Himalayas. The total area constituted by this province is about 7.2%. What are the plants and animals living here? So it is an area where you have normally the alpine forest. We have seen already what is alpine. Then rhododendrons, a kind of plant variety, orchids, wild sheep, mountain goose, shrew, panda, you know that one, that is snow leopard, etc. Those animals which can, what is called actually, which can withstand the extreme cold conditions, because the cold condition is prevalent in Himalayas. So withstanding the cold climatic conditions, the animals are adapted, and such animals and plants are living in that one. So that's about what we have Trans-Himalayas and then Himalayas. Now the third biogeographic zone, Indian Desert. You know the Rajasthan Desert, the Thar Desert, and it is a sandy desert. And the salt desert in Gujarat, what is called the the desert of Kutch. So, biotic provinces. So, the extremely arid area, normally you know that one sandy areas, salt areas, extremely arid conditions without much water. West of the Aravalli Hill Range, comprising the sand, what we call the desert of Rajasthan, that is called as a Thar Desert, and the salt desert of Gujarat, what is called Kutch. These are the two deserts found in India, the salt desert of what is called Gujarat, otherwise called as the Kutch Desert, and the Rajasthan Desert, otherwise called the Thar Desert. These are the major deserts of actually India, constituting the area of 6.9. So we have mainly the vegetation, the flora, thorn forests, deciduous forests, and the most important one, what we have, the wild ass, one of the endemic species, wild ass. So endemism, we know endemic species is the one which belongs to that particular country only. The origin place, the place where the species originated is called as an endemic species. Now wild ass originated in India, that's why it's called as endemic species. Indian bustard, camel, because the desert animal, foxes, snakes, because snakes are adapted to, that one, the desert conditions. These are all the animal species of the fauna found what we have in the case of Indian desert. And followed by it, we have a semi-arid zone, normally between the desert and what we have the Deccan Plateau, the elevated part where we have the rocky areas, more or less extending from the north to south in the central part of India. So central part means I am not telling about the north area, the central part that is between the western and eastern Ghats extending from the north to south. Now the zones between the desert and the Deccan Plateau, there is a Deccan Plateau is the largest one, including Aravalli Hill Range. So we have what is called between the desert and the Deccan Plateau, and also the Aravalli Range where we have maybe more or less Gujarat, constant about 15.6. This is the second, that is what we have the biogeographical zone with what we have large area. The first one more or less the Gangetic plain. The second one what we have the semi-arid zone. This is the second largest in terms of area. What are the animals? So what are the first one, the vegetation. Those vegetation adapted to the xeric conditions, xerophytes. For example, we have thorn and deciduous forests, mangroves where we have little amount of water is available. Nilgoi. So it is looking like what we have, that is yolk, but it's blue in color. Extremely large body, extending from just head to tail in a slope manner. So that is called nilgoi, commonly called as a blue bull, blackback, the antelopes. Four-horned antelopes. The different kinds of antelopes we have, the deer varieties. Samba, cheetah, spotted deer, these are the different types of deers. Samba, cheetah and spotted deer, the different types of what we have, that is the deer varieties. Asiatic lion, tiger, leopard, jackal, etc. These are the different types of fauna found here. Major variety you can see different kinds of deer and antelopes. That's about what we have the fourth one, semi-arid zones, the one present between the desert and the Deccan Plateau, which also includes what we have the Aravalli Hill Range. Okay. Now the fifth biogeographical zone, Western Ghats. Western Ghats are richness of species of amphibians. So it is nothing but mountain ranges extending from Satpena in South Gujarat, the region in South Gujarat, to the southernmost tip of Kerala, extending up to Kerala, rich in what is called amphibian species. That's why we have the richest source of amphibians here. It consists only 4%. It consists of the different types of forests, evergreen to dry deciduous forests. This is the main vegetation, evergreen to dry deciduous forests. What are the animals? Nilgiri langur, a kind of old world monkey, black in color. A kind of just actually a monkey. This is langur is a kind of monkey. Indian elephant. What we have? Nilgiri tar. So this is nothing but a kind of goat, a mountain sheep we can see. This is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. So Nilgiri tar, a kind of what is called the sheep, is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. Now we have the grizzled squirrel, and also we have lion-tailed macaque, a kind of another monkey. The tail is just like what we have, tails of the lion. So this is another example of endemic species, just like wild ass, what is seen already. It is another endemic species, belongs to only India. It is a kind of monkey, Now let's go to the next one, Deccan Peninsula. So in area wise, this is the largest in nature, nearly 43%. The second largest, what I mentioned, the semi-arid land, about we have the 15 point something, and here we see that one Deccan Peninsula is the largest in terms of area, comprising of raised land made of rocks, bounded by the Satpura range on the north. We have three boundaries, north, we have the south, on either side of east and west. So raised land bound land bounded by what we call the Satpura range on the north, Western Ghats on the west, and Eastern Ghats on the east. That's about the boundary. Western Ghats on the west, Eastern Ghats on the east, and on the north we have Satpura range. So I mentioned already, largest area constituting about 43% of the total area. Now it includes what we have the forest type like deciduous forest, thorn forest, and small patches of semi-evergreen forest. That's why here mentioned pockets of semi-evergreen patches here and there only, not complete. We have different types of what we call the deer. Chital, a kind of spotted deer. Samba, also a kind of deer. Sloth deer. We have two-toed sloth and three-toed sloth. And the barking deer, the one which can able to bark, producing a sound. Nilgai, I mentioned already the blue bull, then elephant, then black buck, a kind of antelope. These are the different kinds of fauna found as biota in this area. Okay. The seventh biogeographical zone, the Gangetic Plains. Now it is one of the most fertile regions of India. That is a Gangetic Plain. So it extends from eastern Rajasthan through Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal, extending up to that one. From eastern Rajasthan up to West Bengal, passing through UP, Bihar, etc. Its total area 11%, don't forget, one of the most fertile regions of India. So it has mangrove forest, dry deciduous forest as vegetation. Now the fauna includes the rhinoceros, Indian rhinoceros, the elephant, the buffalo, tiger, crocodile, swamp deer, there is horned deer, etc. Different types of deer. Then we have to go to the next one, Northeast India. Now the plains and non-Himalayan ranges of northeastern India. This is the plains and non-Himalayan ranges of northeastern India. That's why it's called as Northeast India, located in the northeast. This region represents the transition zone between India, Indo-Malayan, Indo-Chinese biogeographical regions. This region represents what we have a transition zone, that is mingling of two different or three different zones between Indian, Indo-Malayan and Indo-Chinese biogeographical regions. It is a meeting point of Himalayan, what is called the mountains, and the Indian Peninsula. So it is a meeting point of Himalayan, mountains and Peninsula India. So it consists about 5.2% of what we have the area. Then it's a biogeographical gateway for much of Indian fauna and flora. Biogeographical gateway for entry, just like gateway of India. Now biogeographical gateway for much of Indian fauna and flora, that is nothing but the Northeast India. One word answer, remember. What are the vegetations we have? Semi-evergreen forests, monsoon forests, swamps and grasslands. These are all the different kinds of vegetation. Now the animals include Indian rhinoceros, the golden langur. Is not actually black in color. Langur, you see that one I mentioned, a kind of old monkey. Then leopard, etc. So langur is nothing but what we have, a kind of monkey. So golden in color, that's why it's called as golden langur. But normally it's black in color, that's why the just adjective is given golden, that's golden langur. Leopard, etc. That's about what we have the Northeast India. One word answer, remember that one. Biogeographical gateway for much of Indian fauna and flora. Just actually gateway for entry for just actually the spreading of the different kinds of fauna and flora in India. That's about the Northeast India. We have to go for two more. Now the ninth biogeographical zone of India is the coastal region. Now the biotic provinces, the coastline from Gujarat to Sundarbans with sandy beaches, mud flats, coral reefs and mangroves. These are all the different types of what we call the habitats we have or the zones within this range. Now area 2.5%. This is the second list. The first list is what we have Andaman and Nicobar Island. There is a least in area Now this is the second least. There is 2.5. There is a coastal region. Now, as it contains water, the coastline, which contains mangroves mainly. The vegetation includes the mangroves. Now, the fauna includes sponges, the different kinds of corals, the crabs, the turtles, then the tunas, the fish, then ornamental fishes, etc. So, we have tuna, somewhat the largest fish available in Mauritius Island, they are eating that one. So, ornamental fishes also found in this zone. Now, the last one, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, the province is nothing but is in Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. It's located, the small islands, collection of islands located in the Bay of Bengal. It is the least in area. The largest area I mentioned already is semi-arid land. Now, this is the least area having only 0.3%. What is the vegetation? So, it includes evergreen forests. What is a fauna? The fauna includes a wide variety of corals, the turtles, then non-condom hornbills, the birds, then giant robber crab, the crustacean, then wild boar, the pig. The wild pig is otherwise called the wild boar. Then water monitor, some lizard-like animals. Then South Andaman crane, a kind of highly poisonous snake. Highly poisonous snake, that is what is called the crane. South Andaman crane, a kind of snake, highly poisonous in nature, neurotoxic in nature, causing damage to the brain. That's all about we have the various biogeographical zones of India. Now the next one, what are the threats to biodiversity? Now we know India is one of the 17 mega biodiverse countries in the world. Though it is one of the 17 mega biodiverse countries in the world, it is facing threat to biodiversity. Now the main reason for today's habitat loss and biodiversity loss are actually the human activities, both directly, indirectly, along with the natural causes. So the main cause also we have natural cause, along with that one, the main reason for habitat loss and also biodiversity loss, today's human activity. Today's human activities. Now what are the activities, human activities responsible for biodiversity loss? Now one, fragmentation and degradation. It is caused due to agricultural activities or practices, what we are doing, the different practices. Causes fragmentation and degradation. Number two, extraction. Extracting the materials through mining process, through fishing, through logging, through harvesting. And three, development. For development, including the settlements, then we have the industrial development and associated infrastructures. These are all the developments. Then, fourthly, the fragmentation. So all these three mainly leads to habitat loss. Either fragmentation and degradation or extraction or development all lead to what is called habitat loss. Now the fragmentation is nothing but actually the fragmenting of the entire land into small areas. Fragmentation leads to the formation of isolated, small and scattered populations as endemic species. So that is called fragmentation. The total land area is being broken into many small, isolated, scattered populations. And that is what is known as actually fragmentation. What are the other threats to biodiversity? Specialized diet by the animals, specialized habitat requirement, then large size, small size, actually large size, small population size, large size, small population size. Limited geographic distribution. Some animals are distributed just in a limited area, in limited places, in geographic locations. High economic and commercial value. So for that, the meaning one, we are hunting and poaching the animals for various economic sources and commercial purposes that leads to biodiversity loss. Killing the animals or actually even poaching. That's the land areas in forests, etc. Now, normally, the large animals, by virtue of their size, require large areas to obtain their life necessities like food, cover, meat, etc. Suppose you are taking a line, the home area, the home zone, individual home area for line would be 100 kilometer, 100 square kilometer. So mammals have actually specialized needs. They have specialized needs such as carnivores and herbivores. Actually, they need to forage large areas. Forage means just the method of capturing or procuring the food. Then the smaller animals do. And even if you're taking the mammals, they have low reproductive output than the rodents. The rodents, the squirrels, we have the rats, the mouses, they're coming into the order Rodentia. They're commonly known as rodents, gnawing animals. That's about what we have the threats to biodiversity. What are the main reasons? What are the other reasons? So these are all the specialized reasons, generalized reasons. These are all other reasons. So according to the size of the animal, they need large areas for obtaining their food, etc. The home area, the individual home zone for lion would be 100 square kilometer. So mammals have needed specialized diet, such as carnivores and also what we call the frugivores. Carnivores and frugivores. And also the need to forage, procure food. Just they need much large area than what we have in the case of general dietary herbivores and omnivores. When compared to herbivores and omnivores, now the frugivores and also the carnivores, they require large area to forage the food. Even in the case of mammals, we have low reproductive output than what we have. Other than the rodents, except the rodents, we have the low reproductive output in the case of large mammals. That's about what we have, the threats to biodiversity. We have to go for the next one, biodiversity loss. We'll see it in the next class. Okay, thank you.